Hey YouTube, what's going on? You are tuned into the Straight SRT8 YouTube channel, and today we talk about all things oil related. So a big question out there is, what is the best oil for my car? And hopefully today we're going to help answer that question. I have a study with me right now, produced by AMSOIL in 2007. It is called A Study of Automotive Gear Lube. And this is an entire study done by AMSOIL. And the point of the study was to determine what's the best gear lube out there. Now they tested a whole variety of name brands. Let me just do a quick walkthrough here. Now these are all 75 weight 90 oils. So we have the AMSOIL Severe Gear, which I actually use in this truck. We have Castrol Syntec. We have GM Synthetic Axle, Lucas 7590, Mobil 1, Mopar Synthetic, Mopar LS Additive. And that's with the LS Additive, of course. Pennzoil, Redline, Royal Purple, Torco, SG0 Synthetic with the Torco Limited Slip Additive. We have Valvoline. And then for non-synthetic, we have Castrol Hypoid, Pennzoil Gear Plus, and Valvoline High Performance. Now these are all 75 weight 90s. This whole study is geared towards gear oil. However, a lot of it really does apply to motor oil. So the test kind of goes on to talk about the viscosity index, how much wear and tear you get your rack and pinion. Talks about corrosion, talks about shear strength. They did a bunch of shear testing. And this is all done to the correct standards. I mean, this is a true study. It's published, of course, by AMSOIL, as I mentioned. But from what I can tell, it's a legitimate study that isn't really biased towards AMSOIL. So it talks about how the oil changes color, how it may collect some contaminants, how the actual ring and pinions look afterwards. They did the welded ball test to see how well everything holds up. The index wear, I mean, everything, just the study is pretty immense. They use a microscope to go in there and look at the actual wear of the metal components before, after, and then sometimes during testing. The foam index, how hot everything gets, I mean, just it goes on and on and on. Even price comparison. And at the very end of the study, they have a summary here. So I'll cut to the chase. And the lower score, the better. So it says the gear lube with the best test was assigned a 1. So of all tests I mentioned, they all got graded 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. And at the very end, they're all added up. So the lowest score is really the best winner. And then anything that failed, of course, either wasn't graded or got an NA or got a very high number. And so at the very end here, we have a list of the actual winners. I know it's going to be hard to see, so I'll read it to you. So in number 1, surprise, is the AMSOIL Severe Gear. Number 2 is the Mobil 1. We already knew Mobil 1 was a great contender. Then you have your GM Synthetic. Then you have Castrol. And you have Redline. So looking at the numbers here, with a score of 38, you have AMSOIL. The next score is 71. And that's almost double. And that's your Mobil 1. So some of the areas that AMSOIL really beat Mobil 1, its viscosity index. It has a score of 2. Mobil 1 has a score of 11. Viscosity after a shear test. AMSOIL score of 1. Mobil 1 score of 9. I mean, the pour point, everything. Oxidation. Let's see, the 4-ball wear test. Score of 2 for AMSOIL, score of 9 for Mobil 1. So you can see from the study that AMSOIL does pretty well. Now, of course, it is an AMSOIL study. I'm sure there's a little bit of bias towards it, but I would still consider AMSOIL to be the best. I mean, overall, AMSOIL is an amazing oil. I use it right now, the AMSOIL, in my differentials. I use it in my transfer case. And when I do my change in my transmission, I'm going to be using that also, their automatic transmission fluid. I may even use it in the motor itself. Right now, I'm using Pennzoil. It's the OEM recommendation is the Ultra Platinum fully synthetic Pennzoil developed for SRTs. It's a 0W40. The reason I use that oil is because I've done comparisons, just myself, and I've looked online for whether Mobil 1's the best, whether Royal Purple will be better, or AMSOIL, or Pennzoil. And a lot of guys mentioned that they think that the Pennzoil and Mobil 1 are the same because Obviously, Chrysler goes out and they do comparison testing, and then they talk to the manufacturer of Mobil 1, because WK1 Jeeps use Mobil 1 and the WK2s use Pennzoil. And I'm sure they got a better discount through Pennzoil for WK2, so they changed over from the Mobil 1 to Pennzoil. So I'm sure they're pretty similar. I mean, Mobil 1 is a great oil. But I'm sticking to the Pennzoil for my truck. It's been great. I change it every 5,000 miles. The truck seems perfectly fine. I don't see any kind of noticeable differences in wear and tear or in the color of the fluid. I don't see any difference in horsepower or kind of your butt dyno. Not that you would, but nothing like that. Seems to be working very well for me. Now the oil filter, I'm using a non-stock oil filter. So same size filter, but this is the SRT one developed for the Dodge Viper. Now this has a different spring in there for a bypass valve. So when you're really getting on it real hard, it bypasses the oil filter, allows oil to just fly through there and get right back into the engine as soon as possible. That's great for racing. Obviously, you don't want to rob your engine of that essential oil while you're racing the engine and while you're hitting almost red line and flying through the gears. It's very important to make sure that you have that bypass valve there that allows oil to get through the engine as fast as possible. And as soon as the pressure decreases for the PSI in the oil, it's going to allow that valve to close and then push everything through the oil filter and continue catching all the contaminants that way. So I did swap it out. Of course, I'll have the description and the part numbers in the linked or description of the part numbers in the video. So check out below that in the description area. But yeah, I mean, that's what I use for my oil. Never had an issue with it. I think it's a great oil. I may again choose AMSOIL in the future. They are also an amazing oil provider. Now, AMSOIL does have a preferred customer discount. I think it's like $5 or $10 a year, something very cheap, and you save 25% off your oil. Might be 20%, I can't remember off the top of my head, but the AMSOIL Preferred is absolutely the way to go. You know, I know that AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, Napa, they don't sell it, at least in my area in New York. So you have to go online through either a known distributor or go through the AMSOIL website itself and become a preferred customer. I know that Lewis Tire here in Rochester, New York, they are a dealer for AMSOIL, and I just call them up. They have very good pricing, and I buy all my oil that way instead of going through the AMSOIL website. If I wanted to go through the website and save a little bit extra money, I could do that. I just prefer to go through the dealer here because I'm supporting a local business. So I'm going to try and find this link to where this is posted. I found it through a friend of a friend. I'm not sure if it's online yet. I mean, I know it has to be somewhere. I'm just not sure exactly where it is online. So I'm going to post it. Again, it's called A Study of Automotive Gear Lube, and this is done by AMSOIL. So check it out. It's 24 pages long. It's pretty detailed. It's got some amazing results in there. I mean, these guys, again, they follow these testing protocols to a T. They have some great documentation here. You know, and I really do believe the results. It's probably a little bit biased, like I mentioned before, but the closest competitor was Mobil 1, and that was almost twice the score of the AMSOIL. So again, in my mind, AMSOIL is already one of the best oils out there. And I personally like better than Mobil 1. And this study just helps reaffirm that the AMSOIL really is a great oil. So guys, if you like this kind of content, you want to hear more about how to modify your Jeeps, I have a lot of upcoming videos on the way, whether it comes to hardwiring something like a Diablo Sport. I have a dash cam in here too, radar detector, talk about why I hardwire those, how I hardwired them, why I chose what I chose, and then more content about, of course, increasing your horsepower, your torque output, and keeping your engine safe. So I have a lot of that content on the way. So if you like it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and keep an eye out for future videos.